Greetings and God bless. I saw something on the street today, this evening. This lady was running, pretty out of breath, and she looked kind of upset. Um, I thought they were late for a movie because this other guy was running behind her, and she ran into the theater. So I was like, oh. And then she ran out of the theater, and then maybe, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 feet, she's like, keep away from me. And I thought they were friends that were just hanging out. It was First Nations people. And I don't know what was going on. It was dark, and they went to the end of the block where there was a bunch of older people, older First Nations people were sitting. So maybe, that was a safe place. Maybe not. Anybody who pays any attention to like reality, we know that First Nations people are like the little kids are still, the dead bodies are found, if they're even found. Of course, 800,000 people, just, whatever race, are abducted, kidnapped, and horrible things are done in a year, each year in the United States. But from what I understand, there's not a whole lot of statistics even about First Nations people, especially women. When I lived in Montana, I didn't really hear a whole lot about it, but when I did, it was understood that a lot of women just are killed. A lot of First Nations women are just killed, just willy nilly, regularly. And I had lived in this city in Montana for several years, and I had not been aware of it. But apparently, it was like just this trend, this horrible trend. And I never really saw. I didn't see a whole lot of Native women in Missoula, in Montana. And Montana has a bad reputation. John Krakauer wrote a book about the rape culture at the university there. And I think it's not really this. I think a lot of things are not like this male supremacist kind of a thing. I think when significant evil exists, it's a satanic, Freemasonic, secret society kind of a thing. Just because in your whole entire life, have you met anybody who just lived to kill people? Like really, statistically, like, but it is just apparent, it's becoming more apparent that there's these secret societies, and they're covered by, they're protected by the principalities. We fight not flesh and blood, but principalities. And principalities are the trusted agents of the public good. And the trusted agents of the public good, like a lot of health and human services, like child protection agencies, are known for child trafficking. A lot of humanitarian aid folks are known for human trafficking, child trafficking, trafficking of women. The UN is also known for raping the people that they're supposed to come to help. It's just really bizarre. It's like it really does not make sense. And yet this is a thing, and these things are never addressed. They're not addressed, which is another bizarre thing. But people are going to like burn something down. Anyway, so I noticed that when this lady earlier, or this evening, in the late afternoon, she was running, and she was really like the guy seemed like he was kind of mad, but trying to have a sense of humor. And what I noticed is the lady wasn't clear. And of course, the reason why anybody isn't clear about their boundaries is because their whole life they were not allowed to have boundaries. And I admit, I have very limited experience with the First Nations people. But one time I was at a 12-step meeting, and this lady was sharing her uh, success, and she was cut off just in the middle of her share, and nobody thought anything of it. And the lady just accepted it. And it was very strange because they didn't do that to other people. And and there wasn't a whole lot of Native people in that group, probably for that reason. And I mentioned it to somebody, and they didn't really notice it. Uh, so, anyways, and I've been to like like events where there was First Nations people and their children, and there's just just this pathos, this, I don't know what to say, what words to put to it. I grew up in New York City. I've lived with a lot of different cultures. I mean, Vietnamese and Thai and different, like, African and African American, and Puerto Rican, and uh, Guatemalan, and Chinese and Japanese and Korean, and uh, like, I've known people from Spain. I mean, like, I come from mixed family. Like, I mean, just different countries in Europe, and I've known like drug addicts and alcoholics, and there is some loss of soul that I have observed. I mean, like, crackheads in San Francisco or New York are more intact than some um, of the First Nations people that I've interacted with in the interior of the United States. I really don't know what that's about. Uh, and it's like experiencing how these First Nations people are towards each other, towards themselves. Just, I mean, I know there's a lot of drugs and alcohol um, and history, and I can't say they have been nice to me here. Like, when I'm walking, like, I know I'm just an animal to be harvested. So that's not. I mean, that's dehumanizing. I mean, it doesn't. And I know people are like, well, you should let yourself be abused because they, for proxy, just for their compensatory entitlement. I've met people who are like that, who think that because I have white skin, that I should allow myself to be abused and savaged, to somehow it's going to make up for what happened 300 years ago. And it's weird. Like, people who don't know, just, they like putting, like, vicariously having me pay some sort of weird price that they have in their mind. But I ramble on. Um, so apparently it appears that uh, there's maybe no respect of anybody in families here or something. I don't know. I mean, I can't say I had, I didn't get any respect from one of my parents, and that was devastating, and it affected everybody. Everybody has severe chronic illness due to just extreme, horrible, psychotic or pathological. I don't really know the formal like diagnoses and designations of what toxic stuff was going on in my family. But I know that it really, like somebody, this one guy, Richard Grannon, he talked about one of his parents was very, I believe, a malignant narcissist. And she hated men, and so she took it out on her son. This expert now, Richard Grannon, and he was saying how she scooped out his soul. And watching him, he seems like he's got a lot of character, a lot of soul. And he says he's still working on it, and that like he's just more of a performance. He's not even he doesn't feel like he's a real person. Excuse me. But like, so today when I saw this lady running, and she ran for quite a while, and then she was like, leave me alone. So I mean, I'm taking forever to get to my point. But let me tell you, folks, if you want somebody to go away, you tell them from the start. So it was getting darker, so she ran into where there was more light, but then she like, so she needed to say, like, leave me alone. And I guess the guy, she probably knew he wasn't going to leave her alone, and she probably knew that the police were not going to help her. I mean, it seems like the police are barely helping anybody around here. I mean, not that I've called them a lot or whatever, but I don't really see much of a presence. It seems like they're out somewhere else, not in the main touristy part of Rapid. Anyway, but folks, you need to be clear. If you can safely say no, leave me alone, rather than run away, which the person might be thinking you're just playing hard to get. And maybe, I mean, it appeared to me that this lady felt like maybe she had no one to turn to. So she looked like she was probably under the influence of alcohol, and she probably wasn't nourished, so she probably wasn't thinking clearly anyway. I mean, maybe she wasn't under the influence. Maybe she was diabetic. I mean, there's all sorts of serious nutritional issues. Maybe she didn't have good sleep. So certain things, like somebody can be sober as a judge and they look like they're out of it because they haven't slept for a week, because they haven't had a place to sleep or whatever. So anyways, if you keep finding yourself in a bad situation, if you find yourself around some bad people, scary people, if you're cornered, number one, make sure to put yourself in a safe space. So, and I mean, if there's a church, or if there's a library, or if there's a mall, but or if there's an activity, like if there's some thing that's catered to a topic of your interest or to your culture or whatever, like participate in that. And there are predators everywhere. So there's predators in a church. We know that. And there can be predators at the mall or whatever. So you got to keep looking. But if you're, like, I would say daytime is a safer place to be out. So if you're, you have this tendency to be around, you find yourself around bad people trying to corner you, take advantage of you, try to be somewhere safe and during the day. Like, if you're going to be out during the day. And, try to find safe people. And the thing is, be a safe person yourself. So you can't be taking advantage of somebody. You can't be abusing somebody. You can't be tormenting somebody by doing something obnoxious that bothers the person that's kind of you're taking shelter in. Also, I would say, speaking of taking shelter, taking refuge, pray to God, and I recommend searching your heart and taking refuge in Lord Jesus Christ, because all evil, I mean, it's either from the flesh or this world or Satan, the creator of evil. So everything's a supernatural war that's going on right now. So you need to address that as well, of course. And the most important is to pray, and to pray to Almighty God in the name of Lord Jesus Christ. So I guess that's my very long story here. But if you find yourself in a bad situation, be clear, be firm. Don't just quietly run. You know, you need to use your words. You need to be clear. And it's so and if you're afraid that somebody's going to harm you when you say no, try to, like this lady, she went into the light, but she kept on running into the dark, and she probably wasn't thinking clearly. But there was a whole bunch of people around. So I would say be clear, be in the light, and say, no, leave me alone. And there is this social thing where we all want things to be safe. We're not going to get involved if you have some sort of something you're working through with somebody, you know. It's like, especially now in this very defensive, hostile climate, nobody wants to do anything. And everybody's a coward anyway. That's really more, everybody's just a coward, you know. Being courageous, speaking up is punished, right? I mean, that's what's been going on, you know, like actually forever. I mean, whistleblowing, it's we know you get punished, and if you're successfully whistleblowing about a big topic, you get suicided. But I digress. But especially ladies, take care of yourself. You are valuable. You're important. You matter. You mean something. Whoever you are. So take care of yourself. Pay attention where you are. Make good choices. So you're in a safer space, like a library or some, you know, interesting scenic building, you know, a museum or whatever, someplace that's just you know, it's a public space and has cool murals and whatnot. So take care of yourself, look after yourself, and practice saying no. If you really have a hard time, just practice a little bit. So let's say somebody's like, "Do you want some more green beans?" You can say no. Or if you want more green beans and they haven't offered it to you, say, "I'd like more green beans." Start off small, safe, where it's not a big deal. People expect, and I'm still learning this, people expect some disappointment. They expect a little bit of a hassle from you, because that's a relationship. That's like reciprocity. Like, it's not, you're not always having to give. And I don't understand. I don't know the First Nations culture. You know, I've known different people, different tribes, and like when I was in Alaska, even though everybody was like out of their mind and on crazy drugs and doing crazy criminal things, like they weren't, it wasn't this pathos, like abandonment of the self. that I see here. So, anyways, please take care of yourself, ladies. And if you're a little kid, take care of yourself. If you're a little kid, like you can say no, I don't want to do that. Of course, I mean, if your mom is like, please get in the car, we got to go home, let's go to school. Yes, go to listen to your parents. But if something's like really not good, you say no, you know. Um, and I'm sorry to even have to say that in these times, but whoever it is that's watching this, you're important. You matter. God knew you. He intended for you to exist. He wants you to be blessed. And so use your common sense, pay attention. And I can understand just like having to start from square one and not knowing how to do any of this. But if you've gotten this far or even just clicked on this, you know that you deserve some safety and you can get it. So just speak up sooner, be clearer, and try to be, yes, we have to be careful around the violent psychopathic maniacs and be strategic sometimes. But if it's not that dangerous, you need to say no sooner. And if it is really dangerous, you need to figure out. I mean, that's beyond the scope of this video, but pay attention where you are. Make sure that you're around safe people. Make sure from now on you're in a safe location, safe time of day, where you have enough time to safely get home. Remain sober. Make sure you have good sleep. Make sure you eat. And if you can't afford food or whatever, go find a place that has a free lunch, like a homeless shelter or soup kitchen or whatever. So you're worth it and you can do it. And it may be a process of doing one right thing, one good thing, another good thing. And also pray and talk to Jesus. Try to get to know him a little bit. So thank you for watching and God bless you.